All right, let's continue to the next game. We just hopped to the draft. I wanted to remind everyone of the home of the battle cruisers. If you have any questions or you want to add to the Yamato Lapsi loses a number one, then go ahead and do so. You can post anything here. You can make a post about, potatoes. Make a post about potatoes and how you like your potatoes, cooked, roasted, in the shape of fries, anything. Anything is possible. So already, is Eve a must ban for you right now? I mean, no, I don't think it's a must ban. So this draft is quite disgusting. Okay. So I am not a hater of Renekton blind pick. I am not a hater of it. Blind picking is not the easiest thing to do right now in blue for top lane. So Renekton has been a solution. So blue side is running into that issue that they need to blind pick champions that win lane, right? They need to blind pick champions that win lane. They can't commit to a position where the enemy pushes all lanes. It's going to be too difficult to play the game. So you need most of the time an avenue to create space and pressure for your laners. And Renekton as a blind pick comes in and does that. But the caveat is that it needs junglers that synergizes very, very well with it. Graves Renekton have absolutely no synergy at all. They are outscaled at Ninja Tabi. So in this game, they are playing. So this is, if these are the champions I'm seeing, and I am Shen. Okay? As a Shen, I win the game when I have Ninja Tabi. And that time pressure is very tough to work with. Very, very tough to work with. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So Ninja Tabi absolutely outscales this combination, and that makes it a tragedy. Like here, it's a complete sin. Here, if we had Nidalee, okay, we can begin to imagine, right? They have the Ashe, they have the Nidalee, Renekton, they have some avenues to play through, right? They have some avenues to play through. They pick the Zoe, the Leona, okay. They have some opportunity here to create a snowball early, maybe force an early Soul Drake. They have some options. But instead, we are in this position where they have Graves, Renekton, Ashe first three. Ashe, we don't mind. Ashe is a great blind pick. Why is Ashe a great blind pick? Because it's tough to find lanes that counter her. She's going to find priority in her lane. She doesn't fall off. Ashe has taken the position of Ezreal in some shape or form. She doesn't define the composition. She has a kit that is always going to be relevant in the game. She can itemize very differently depending on the game. She can itemize items that are going to make her survive. Of course, Hecarim is great against Ashe. Sure, don't get me wrong. It's going to be tough for Ashe to play this game against Hecarim and Shen. But she can itemize in a very specific way. She can go Tabi without that hurting her too much. She can switch around the summoners. She can go third item, defensive item like a Randuin's Omen or something like this. She can choose to go Phantom Dancer. She can go Blade. She can go Essence Reaver. She's very flexible, right? And the key thing here is that in most support combinations with Ashe Nautilus in the picture, she can indeed, find priority in lane, right? So Ashe is nice. We enjoy it. But the synergy between Graves and Renekton is just non-existent. Non-existent, right? It's just non-existent. It's terrible. And when I see these three, as a Shen, I'm very happy. As a Senna, I am very happy. All these three champions are just fucking happy. Very happy. I can go Trinity Force into a Chain Vest and I'm gonna survive always as a Hecarim. I can go Tabi on Senna, I'll be very happy. I can go GA third item on Senna and the game will be fucking over. Shen, Ninja Tabi, easy, easy, easy. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. Very easy. No synergy at all. Here, second wave ban, the fact that Rogue don't ban Leona is very true. Not banning Leona here is a big mistake. Leona is 100% the ban. You have to ban Leona. LeBlanc ban is not good. Banning LeBlanc here together with Graves, I don't think you should give a shit about it. You're fifth picking mid. And especially you're picking Syndra. You picked Syndra in this case, and you're banning LeBlanc. I think it's a mistake. So here you need to ban Leona. Leona is a great pick into Nautilus. It's winning for Leona. It's a winning lane for Leona. I think Leona 100% was the ban here. You don't want to give Leona here. You're fourth picking Nautilus. There is no reason to give Leona. Ban Leona. Ban Leona. Enemy team bans Nautilus. Okay. Blind pick Tom. Whatever the fuck. Doesn't matter. Blind pick Braum. Do as you please. Leona just does what Nautilus does, but better. She's more durable. She didn't receive any big nerfs, and she just synergizes better with the current runes. Taric ban is also Taric ban is okay. Taric is good against Hecarim and Shen, and banning Taric gives them more options on 5 pick. For example, if enemy Syndra blinds here, they have the option of going Echo, right? They have the option of going Echo. And enemy being Syndra Taric here, maybe it would be worse, right? I just think the LeBlanc ban is pointless. I think LeBlanc together with Graves is not that dangerous, and you have the Syndra pick in your pocket too. But I think the reason they are removing the LeBlanc is because they just want to have an easier time of targeting people together with Hecarim and Shen and Nautilus. So it's understandable, right? I'm not saying it's like super, super bad, but I would prefer the Leona ban here. You know, Ashe Leona don't have that much synergy. The only synergy they have is the fact that both are really, really good champions. That's the synergy they have. They are both really, really good champions. So it's so that's the synergy. You have 2 strong champs. You pick 2 strong champs. That's what it is. That's what it is. The first thought, right, is the enemy AD carry, the enemy mid lane is going to run cleanse, right? They're going to run cleanse. And that could be, sure, that could be tricky. But even through that, it's worth it. Even through that, it's worth it. The crazy thing about Leona, let me show you guys something. So, Leona Wiki. So the crazy thing about Leona is that her ult cooldown is ridiculous. So why is this ult cooldown 90 seconds? 90 seconds cooldown. That's so low. It's incredibly low. Incredibly low cooldown. 90 seconds. W. The synergy this has with Aftershock is also fantastic. We compare to Nautilus. So Nautilus has a hefty 30 seconds longer cooldown. Sure, Nautilus ult is stronger, but just for the point of reference, this ult cooldown is unheard of, right? Unheard of. The ult cooldown is incredibly low. Incredibly low. I don't think it's worth going Ultimate Hunter. No. Anyhow, I'm trying to remember where we were with the draft discussion. So they get Leona. Leona, Zoe, good picks. Good blinds. But the problem with Zoe, right, is you pick Zoe and you're playing Zoe against Hecarim and Shen and Nautilus. That is tough. So ideally here, if I would change up the draft, is Nidalee here. And then you can't ban Azir. Can't ban Azir. Can't ban Azir, can't ban Orianna. You want to play against these champs. You want to play against these champs in this game. Because you want to have Azir here. You want to have Azir. So here, if they had Nidalee here, Azir here, we have a draft. We have a draft. For the rogue draft, solid, very solid, good reaction. Picking a very strong jungle blind, hiding the support matchup. The only reason you are not picking Nautilus here, is because you're afraid of Leona. That's the only reason you're not picking Nautilus here. And they end up giving Leona anyway. So this was weird. Well, picking Leona is also an option. But I think teams are still afraid of Thresh. People are afraid of Thresh. But I wouldn't be afraid of Thresh. I think Leona can lane into Thresh. Maybe teams are also afraid of Morgana. And Tahm Kench. People are afraid of Tahm. Tahm is the danger. Is Leona a counter to Nautilus? I would say it's a counter. Not necessarily counter, but it's just a better version of Nautilus. But Nautilus is better to blind. Tahm Kench Ashe basically means you give up so much of Ashe's lane power. No, Tahm Kench Ashe is a very strong lane. Tahm Kench Ashe is a very strong lane. Tahm Kench Ashe is a very good lane. Tahm Kench Braum is also a very good lane. Don't make people, not understand like Alistar instead of Leona. Picking Alistar into Nautilus is very bad, and on top of that, you are baiting a potential Sylas 5 pick. Tahm Kench is a strong lane. Like people don't understand the power of Tahm because they just don't see it enough in solo queue, and the community perception of Tahm is that it's shit. But after being in Korea and you get to see like good Tahm Kench players, it will change your perspective. It changed my perspective the first time I went to Korea in 2016, I believe. Is the reason you wouldn't flex the Shen to support as rogue and counterpick Renekton? They picked the Shen after they saw the Renekton. This is the counter. If they went Alistar here, you run into Sylas. And Silas with Alistair ult, you can just FF the game, honestly. The thing is, Nautilus is, in the mind of the people, Nautilus is a better blind pick than Leona. Because the Leona players are afraid of Thresh and Morgana. Varus E has got nerfed to the fucking ground, like it got deleted. Any champion that needs to buy Tiamat to get any form of clear speed is not a good champion in competitive, I think. Unless it's like absurdly OP. Varus got buffed on 10.17 and they're playing 10.16. But yeah, I think we've spoken enough about draft. So Shen is bad? Who says Shen is bad? Yeah, Janna is okay, but after you run into some problems with Janna. Nautilus has been nerfed too much in the support position to play it in other roles. Is Heck a good blind pick? Doesn't it make you commit into team fighting forwards? No. People don't understand. Like, okay, so let's say I have a team composition with Hecarim. Okay? If my team is Ezreal and Ezreal, Yuumi, Zoe, I don't have a binary role. Just because my ult is considered to be an engage tool, it can also be used as a disengage tool, right? If my composition outranges, if Ezreal Zoe outranges, my purpose as Hecarim is to counter engage. Hecarim can wait. It's the same with Ornn. If we put Ornn in the same position as Hecarim, okay? And enemy composition is Akali and Aphelios. Let's say these are the carries, okay? Hecarim doesn't want to run straight into Aphelios with this team, right? If we just look at it from a theoretical point of view, I want to play time and let Zoe and Ezreal kind of, chip down on the enemy's health and make them drop in HP. I have no purpose in engaging first. I don't need to. So Hecarim, even though you think, oh, we're picking Hecarim, we are committing to a composition that needs to go forward. Not necessarily. I can just wait. Hecarim can be a defensive champion. Any ability that can be used aggressively can also be used defensively. There are some situations that are, for example, Akali. Akali, sure, I can sit in with my team and kite and fight and hit frontline together with my team. But Akali maybe is in the school of more effective if you commit first, right? Sure, Hecarim is very good against champions. Like Hecarim would be good into the composition we have on the left because he has the option of going, right? But just because Hecarim has the option of going doesn't mean he has to always go. This is a very, very common mistake for players to make, even at the highest level. I am Hecarim, I need to go, right? I need to go forward. But you don't necessarily always have to go forward. If your team composition outranges the others, the prospect of engaging first needs to be in the hands of the enemy. Ornn is the best example to explain this. Ornn, his ultimate is seen as an engage tool. But if the enemy engages into you and then you Ornn ult, the Ornn ult is so much more powerful than it is for you to chase people with. If people are running into you, it's so much easier to hit the perfect Ornn ult. We have in the chat, same with the Blitzcrank hook. Yes, Blitzcrank can be used to find picks and find engages, but if the enemy runs into you, it's also a powerful tool, right? It becomes easier to use. The team that engages first theoretically is always at a disadvantage because they need to use abilities to cut distance. Of course, this is strictly theoretical. There are compositions like if you're playing Echo, Hecarim, Shen, Nautilus, Senna, and you're committing onto the enemy AD carry. This is not a bad thing, right? Because you have to, you're getting outranged, and your composition by nature wants to commit and one-shot targets. Of course, there are situations like this. But theoretically, if you are playing this composition with Echo, Shen, Senna, Nautilus, if the enemy for some reason engages into you, your life is even easier, right? Your life is even easier. Same with Gragasult. Yeah, Gragasult is a great example too. The team that are forced to engage first are usually at a disadvantage, even though some compositions have to engage first. And that's okay, right? If I'm playing against Zoe, Ezreal, right, and the option here is Aphelios, and let's say we have Akali, right? So we are outranged here, and we need to have pieces that go first. The enemy team has Ornn, right? They have Ornn here, and the top side, let's say we have a Sylas, and then AD carry wise, we have let's say we have a Nautilus support, and then let's say Hecarim jungle, okay? Hecarim. And then the other side here has a Graves, and on top of that, of course, let's think of a support. Let's say Yuumi. This team is outranged by this team, right? So the nature of it is this team wants to play range, they want to play distance, they want to bait the engage. In a world where for some reason this team engages onto this team, the team that wants to engage will be way stronger, right? I hope this makes sense, right? So to the point of, oh, Hecarim is committal? In some degrees, yes. Because sure, I made this topic about Hecarim and how he can play in multiple ways. There are champions that are better at some specific things than others. For example, if you're playing Graves and you have to kite, obviously that's more convenient than kiting with Hecarim. But it doesn't mean that, you have to go. Ezreal has gotten weaker because he's received multiple nerfs. He's received multiple nerfs and they are catching up. They're catching up. You want me to touch on the topic of freeze? I think there are situations where it's good to freeze, and there are situations where it's bad to freeze. And the conversation is not black and white. And every situation needs to be looked at with an open mind. There are situations, I agree, that pro players can freeze, and I think there are situations where players shouldn't freeze. It is just another strategy that needs to be evaluated like any other strategy, because it's not black and white. And I'm sure LS views it the same way. I think there are situations, for example, if I'm playing top lane against a gangplank, okay? When I'm playing Jace against a gangplank, our game plan is to fuck the GP. We break the first tower, my bot lane is losing because naturally we are trading sides. And then gangplank is a champion that doesn't have any impact on the map besides his ultimate, right? So freezing against gangplank is perfect because he has no fucking impact. Gangplank running into mid lane doesn't do anything. So freezing is perfect, right? Freezing is perfect because he needs to break that freeze, but he can't because he's weaker, and him pressuring into mid when I have an Orianna mid is, free. It's free. Of course, it matters depending on the objectives that are up and what is going on with the rest of the map, but the context matters. And I don't think, from what I've seen from LS, I think the people that make it black and white are the people that come into a stream, pick up one thing, and then they go and spread his message. And I think I know as a personality that is very, very annoying, because people take clips and then they run to the next person. Look, he said this about you. He said this about you. Look. This is opinion is from freezing. I know how the game works, and I'm sure LS is frustrated with those type of people that make, his opinion into something so simple. But LS also speaks with context. I like to speak with context. And anyone that is reasonable at all in analysis is always going to speak with context. I don't think LS looks at things black and white. So I don't appreciate that being said in my chat. Another review, another Yamato versus LS fanboys. I think even these fanboys frustrate even Ellis. I wouldn't be surprised. Because, for example, now I mentioned Nidalee Renekton. It's a strong pick here. Someone's gonna go run off and say, you know what? YamatoCannon actually fucking says Renekton's fucking good. And then no context. No context at all. No context. Is there a reason for why we don't see much Gragas compared to other AP junglers? He's a bit lower on the priority list because his early game can be exploited. His first clear is not that strong, and I think that's it, that's it. But Gragas is a decent champ. You guys have to keep in mind, someone like LS has thousands of hours of content of him talking all the time. It's okay, Meat Master 9000. It wasn't directed at you. It really wasn't directed at you. It was just in general, my experience. What was I saying all the time? I don't remember what I was talking about. No. I was saying Ellis has so much, imagine any person in the chat, right? If 16 hours of your day is you talking, do you think you're going to say everything perfectly? You think you're going to say everything perfectly? Man, if I spoke 16 hours a day, man, you're going to hear some dumb shit from me, man. For sure. All of you would have been cancelled. All of you in the chat would have been cancelled. For sure. It's the same. I watch Joe Rogan podcast, right? I watch Joe Rogan podcast. I've listened to thousands of hours of Joe Rogan talking. Sometimes he says some dumbass shit, and that's fucking normal. That's normal. Imagine having hours of you talking on camera out there, and you're supposed to be perfect all the time. You're supposed to say everything perfectly? Holy shit. That's messed up. Now you gotta say some dumb shit, man. Alright, so let's begin here. So invade. Rule of Graves. The rule of Graves is level 1 you have to invade. Otherwise your champion is not going to be useful. Confirm Yamato is a member of LS Church? No religion here. No religion. I'm just trying to support, I'm just trying to give some empathy to the situation, because I've experienced the same. And I want to do my part in preventing it if people from LS's fan base are coming over here and, trying to frame his opinion in a weird way, just to stir up some shit. I don't want any drama. I don't want to have any bad blood with anyone on the entire planet. I don't want it. It brings anxiety, it brings stress. Even though it would bring views, it would bring, it would bring attention, I hate it. I really, really don't like it. I don't understand how people intentionally put themselves through it. Well, a part of me understands because it does give, it gives viewership and so forth, but I know in my career that I want to avoid it like the plague. I don't need it. I'm happy with what I'm doing, and I have the chance to do what I dream of. I am very blessed, I understand the content game is very, very ruthless, and viewers love drama. They love to really, really get into it. Ellis said Velcos should be picked more in pro play. What do you think? I obviously agree with him. I think bot lane Velcos could be played more. I think bot Velcos could be played more. I think mid, maybe against Orianna, maybe against Azir. But bot lane Velcos, I'm a fan. I think the raw damage potential of Velcos. I love champions that don't care too much if they're behind. I love these type of champions because often pro players and fans alike are looking at statistics and they're looking at the game in a very binary way. This happens even with pro players. They look at a matchup, let's say for example Renekton Camille. Renekton is considered by top laners a counter to Camille in isolation, without considering junglers. But in reality, most of the time, Camille wins games against Renekton. Even though you manage to be 30 CS down, unless you put Camille completely in the grave, Camille tends to win games in terms of what the statistics show. 1v1 Renekton wins. Naturally, right? But there are so many things going on in the game that CS differential doesn't matter. That's why you could have the option of exploring something like a Kog'Maw Lulu more, because even if you're 50 CS down, maybe you are good enough to win games anyway, because the CS differential is not going to win. That's why Ornn is so good, because Ornn is always relevant. Vel'Koz falls into this bracket. Vel'Koz is a champion that has a lot of damage potential with or without gold, right? Similar to Lux and Senna. Lux and Sona, sorry. Lux and Sona is also something that, you fall behind in CS, but it doesn't matter too much. Right? It doesn't matter too much because you know what's coming. And I think this is something that teams and players could experiment with more. Kog'Maw is also one of those, right? Twitch is also one of those. Of course, there's a limit to it, right? There's a limit to it. Because if you get stumped early, you can lose games. Like if you try to do this against Chinese teams that play with a lot of precision when it comes to the early game, you're going to lose very, very fast. Snowballing is a really, really real thing. The only reason I brought this up is because there is room for exploration, right? There is rule for exploration. Isn't Kog good into Ashe and Kate? No, it's not. The downtime is too much, and the range difference becomes too big of a problem. Kog'Maw has a lot of downtime when he doesn't have W on, and he needs to reach a lot of, he needs to get a bunch of levels before he can actually contest things for real, and that phase is too painful. Too painful. I am just presenting the idea of being behind is okay, right? Being behind is okay if it means you're going to win the game anyway. Why don't we see Vel'Koz against Orianna? Because I think everyone plays Orianna better than they play Vel'Koz, so it's hard to practice. And I wouldn't say it's such a straightforward win. I would say it's very important to make sure that I just think Ziggs is an easier version of Vel'Koz. Ziggs is just a better version of Vel'Koz right now. So this invade a beauty. I think Hecarim is very weak level 1. Invading against Hecarim is good. We have to pay attention what Shadow gets out of this. Like invading blue is always a bit awkward. Larssen burns some mana here. Okay. Renekton slow pushing top. Finn is going to catch this wave. Renekton wins 1v1 against Shen. Renekton wins most 1v1s, but this is not the point of the Shen pick, right? Hecarim and Syndra at 6 are going to look to punish mid. Early lane phase Mad Lions should be stronger. Mid is stronger, jungle is stronger, top is stronger, bot is stronger. So everything is stronger for Mad Lions early. But once again, they need to snowball, because with time, Shen, Hecarim become a bit too strong. Shen, Hecarim become too strong. It is too easy to set things up. Also, the fact Larssen is playing without TP against TP, he needs to squeeze in the base. And the fact that he actually managed to get this base is a bit of a miracle. Graves did a drive-by on mid, and I think Humanoid misplayed to allow this base. Because now Larssen comes back to lane, and I don't understand how this even happened against Zoe. Syndra is very nerfed early, and the fact that he managed to get a base off is insane. Very, very insane. Oroma has TP advantage here. He went for a cheater recall, as Ellis coined the term. Oroma fucked up. Oof, big mistake. Very big mistake. You could see this was a disaster from the get-go. Oh. Oroma fucked up again. Like this is really, really bad. Really, really, really bad. Wow. Greedy build from Renekton? No. This is normal, going for call base. I think a very common mistake that junglers do really is when they invade, don't only do buffs. Why? Like Graves ran around the map, like he ran around the whole map. So Graves did blue wolves into crab. So that is a meme. That is a big meme pathing. What you want to do is you don't want to clear buffs. You want to clear your smaller camps because you want them to respawn quicker. Your blue spawning later for your mid lane, it doesn't make that big of a difference. And in a lot of cases as Graves, you're happy that your blue buff spawns later because there's no trade to happen. So in this case, if he kills his blue later, it means that his next blue buff spawns later, and then you can just go to invade without enemy blue and be happy, right? So yes, Graves is getting level 3, Hecarim already cleared his camp, and now just because Graves doesn't in fact clear his own jungle means that the next rotation of jungle camps are going to spawn for Hecarim, and he's going to catch up. He's going to catch up, and now Graves is still killing his red. First time Raptors were clear on 4 minutes. This is the first time he kills golems as well, very, very late. So Hecarim, odds are he's going to reach level 6 at the exact same time or even faster than Graves. Because he's going to have a third rotation of camps, and it's going to be just marvelous. Just marvelous. Renekton made a mistake here. He gave up his whole advantage. He could have kept a TP advantage here if he played it correctly, but he did not. He did not. Here also, Renekton TPing bot, it's as silly as it might sound, it is a similar level of the mistake that happened with Shadow in the previous game. Very, very similar level. Because this is a disaster. And on top of that, Karzi is auto-attacking the minions. What the fuck is Karzi doing? Here, your whole team is committing so much resources for you to build an advantage, and you don't freeze. And you don't freeze. You don't freeze. He's hitting the minions. And now when he kills this minion, it's unfrozen. And he keeps hitting. It's unfrozen. And now Rogue's bot lane is very, very happy to be here. All this sacrifice, the TP, Graves going into bottom, it was a shit play in the first place. But now it's just doesn't even impact the lane. Vander and Hans Sama are still in a winning position. Isn't he doing it because he's low HP, but he's not going to push in all the way? He's not going to push in all the way. He will not push in all the way. In fact, he's going to just straight up, he's just going to freeze for the enemy team. He's going to freeze for the enemy team. Here comes TP number 2. I like the cancel from Vander on the previous Leona Q there. It was quite neat. Well, Hansama should die here. Okay. That's an okay recovery, because now Zoe's position on the wave was better. Zoe actually had pushed into mid. Syndra was forced to base. In Zoe against Syndra matchups and Zoe in a lot of matches, when you have TP advantage, you're going to get something out of that TP. You need to work together with your jungler to deny that advantage. And in a case where you're playing Hecarim in the jungle against Zoe, that advantage is just not going to happen. Graves is stronger than Hecarim. Nothing is going to point towards the fact that Zoe is not going to use her TP for advantage. In this case, Zoe gets a TP onto bottom. She gets a kill and saves Mad Lion's bot lane. So this is good value, right? This is good value. Renekton didn't get any value, and it's not good. Shadow keeping active. This is good. You know, Mad Lions are making bits. They are doing good. Also good that Mad Lions don't overcommit onto top side, because in a lot of cases team would love to dive here, but they can't. Stun lands. Larson is a bit in trouble. Shadow can look to E, and this is good. This is good. Well, it's good until it wasn't. You know, it's like you make the flash go, and you should peace out. You should just peace out. And now it's a disaster. Now Hecarim will be 6 first. It's not a disaster. Disaster is a bit too harsh. Like, it's okay. It's okay considering Shen used ult. But how can they really use Shen ult aggressively? I guess it's gonna happen when Hecarim and Shen are in. I think that the biggest problem here was Renekton TP bot, and then of course the pathing of Graves. The pathing of Graves was quite the disappointment. Snowball drafts don't always depend on enemy making mistakes. You can force people out of lanes and make them lose minions and get platings. That can be done without the enemy making mistakes. I think snowball drafts, them being pictured as the enemy has to make mistakes, is wrong. I do agree that in a lot of cases they are more difficult to execute, but saying they rely on mistakes is wrong. I think they really appreciate when the enemy makes mistake, but I think in some cases drafts that are snowball heavy don't necessarily rely on mistakes. But still, 8 minutes into the game, being even on gold for Rogue is something they should be very happy with. This swap for Rogue I completely disagree with. Renekton is already pushing. I think this is a very, very bad swap. Herald is already going to be taken. This is very, very bad for Rogue. They need to play on the fact that they have a strong 2v2 mid in Rogue here. That's the only point of pressure that they have, especially after Senna died to the Zoe TP. They need to force on that 2v2 mid and then buy space for their side lanes. But instead they went for a swap, and this was a complete loss of tempo. Complete loss of tempo. Mad draft is a typical LPL draft. No. This draft is... I think if an LPL team drafted this, they would be, I think the problem is just the Graves pick. Graves should have been Nidalee, and then we have an LPL draft. So this swap was very bad for Rogue, and Mad Lions, even though they are even in gold, they're going to expand this gold with the Herald. Ash. Oh, and there you go. This is what we wanted. This is what we wanted. Let's see if Humanoid actually dies. I can't recall if it happens or not. I think she dies. Sheen. Hecarim auto attack range is like same as Nar almost. It's fucking long. Nidalee. I said Nidalee, not Lee. Nick Swift, thank you for your Prime. I am Optimus Prime. I am Optimus Prime. Shen also got pretty starved because of the swap. Rogue making some mistakes, but the whole game plan was just Rogue 6, 2v2 mid, snowball Syndra, use Syndra to push, make sure that the sides are okay, play the stalling game, and you're good. Rogue getting the first dragon is a very big deal, and the fact that Mad Lions didn't manage to squeeze any drakes, and the fact that they lost the 2v2 bot with Ash Leona is a very big deal. It's a very, very big deal. Ash Leona should win. Ash Leona should win. Didn't IG pick Lee? Well, IG is not... whatever IG picks in the jungle is not the point of reference that we have. Could Sandbox win LEC? I don't think so, no. Not with the level we showed this year. Still no Herald used. Here I would sneak another plating. I would take a plating in Asana. I think in this game they could have picked Ornn as well. I like Ornn the most into Renekton. But I think Ornn is OP, so... Isn't Kindred pretty much better Graves? Not necessarily. Graves serves a very different purpose. Graves is stronger early. This is the problem. If Mad Lions snowball too little, when Rogue have ult on everyone, they just win. They straight up just win. There's no potential for Mad Lions to kill someone. They have the Shen shield and they have 2 cleanses on the 2 key targets. It's just too difficult. And now the game is just over. A very big deal here, Mad Lions. I don't understand how they lost the 2v2. They lost the 2v2 on bottom with Ash Leona against Nautilus, which just Nautilus Senna, which just shouldn't happen. So Rogue bot lane played super well. Renekton TP terrible. Graves overcommitted for a death, and then finally when Rogue got to use Hecarim ult to kill Zoe, the game is pretty much lost. A really, really big thing as well is Graves pathing just blue into wolves, into blue, into crab is very bad. I think also probably invading for Hecarim blue is also not good. I don't think it's good. Do you think Hans Sama is a top ADC in Europe? The problem historically what I've seen with Hans Sama is that against, like, he had one good best of 5 against Fnatic when he beat them, right? Against Reckless, when he figured out the meta. I just feel like sometimes Hansama doesn't look confident in the way he plays, and I think in Rogue, always when he's facing against Fnatic, it seems like he's not confident. I think Rogue, their win ratio against G2 and Fnatic is very, very low. So that to me is worrisome. Finn is not getting any CS. Finn is not getting any CS. But this is a very, very good trade for Rogue because they're on the right side of the map when it comes to the Drake that is spawning. You would trade this Herald every time for the Drake that is spawning. But even Rogue could choose to contest this because they just finished Trinity Force on Hecarim and they have 1.5 core on this champion too. Hansama being a bit dangerous here, but Shadow even more dangerous. I think Inspire should have ulted in here. I think it would have been better. Actually, Shen ultimate was not on cooldown. I thought it was. Okay. Well, this was very awkward. Very, very awkward. I think Mad Lions could have also chosen to do what I exactly said. Just trade for Drake, trade sides, and be happy. Now Mad Lions is super, super happy. They're angling towards Dragon. Renekton is taking a free turret. This was a very, very good fight for Mad Lions. So I think just the mistake is just why are they contesting the Herald? Vander, Senna, all of these guys are just walking to the wrong side of the map. Why are they going here? Hecarim could secure red buff here, be very happy. Like, why are they here? Why? Why are they here? Why are you here? Just go into bottom side, play for Dragon, play on your vision, and it's much better. Instead, they are fighting when Syndra is in base and Shen doesn't have ult. Contesting a Rift Herald that doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter. So this looks like a Fnatic mistake. This looks like a Fnatic mistake. Do you think Coach Kim's draft? Well, game 3 against Africa was garbage. Straight up garbage. It was similar level of Mad Lions game 3 draft. Similar game 3 draft. Similar game 3 Mad Lions. Very similar. So we see again. Why are you here? Why are you here? Play for Dragon. Play for Dragon. Here Rogue are already stronger, but the position of everyone is just worse. Shen wants to catch top. They want to go clear mid wave here and then play for Drake. Defend bottom tower and very good. Very good. Yeah, Sylas can't jungle. I think anyone who tries to tell you Sylas can jungle can't be worse than CV Max draft. No, I think CV Max is very eccentric. Sometimes genius, sometimes bad. Yeah, you have to take the good with the bad. I think Selfmade is the best jungler in the West right now. And I don't think there's anyone that comes close right now. Mad Lion said publicly many times that they heavily underestimated Rogue and they got clapped. They got really, really, really clapped. Selfmade says that Inspired is better. Well, he has to say that, no? I think Inspired is also very, very good. This series definitely raised Inspired stonks because before he just seemed like a worse Jankos, but he showed that he can play an Evelynn, a mean Hecarim. And, you know, for junglers, they're going to judge this as, oh, these champions are really, really fucking easy to play. I just clear jungle. But not everyone can do it. So Chovy, Showmaker, or BDD? For what? For a date or for what? What is the question? We were talking about how Shen outscales on Ninja Tabi, but he's never fucking buying it. Bottom wave is left in such an awkward position on bot. Finn doesn't want to recall or what? I think this wave bounce is actually not that awkward. This wave slow pushes into Rogue. It's okay. I think Chovy is slightly better than Showmaker, but Canyon is 5 times better than Pioshik. So it's very hard to judge. Top 3 mid laners in the world. I think Rookie, Chovy, and Knight. It's going to be very hard to be useful here with Zoe in this game. Inspired went for Mercury, which is understandable. Tabi is also very good, but against Ashe, Leona, like in the context of me talking about Ninja Tabi with Shen, I hope I made it clear that this wasn't the case where Leona gets banned. I think Leona had to be banned. Leona had to be banned. Like you're blind picking Nautilus and you're giving Leona. I think you're just giving life to the composition for no reason. Imagine they had Nidalee. Honestly, if they had Nidalee, it would be juicy. Out, enjoy some action here. But maybe Mad Lions don't have the LPL caliber to execute. And the fact that we are in this position now, Mad Lions with their composition, they are 2 Drakes down. Even Rogue could choose to play time here. They can choose to play time. Here, Rogue, like Hansama has so much mana here, right? He just can just keep hitting Drake, reducing cooldown. How did... What on earth? What is this? Wow. Wow. To be fair, like such a standoff is so hard to win against Senna that is full mana. Like Syndra does just as good of a job to fish for chip damage, right? Zoe's looking for chip damage, but any type of hit she does against this team that has a front line with Mercuries, it's very, very slim. And then Senna's gonna heal anything up, like healing for 200, boom. Healing for 200, boom. Hansama here could even auto the Drake. Reduce cooldown of Q. Reduce cooldown of Q. Reduce cooldown of Q. Hey, Varius. How you doing, Varius? Look how all of these members are full HP. And I don't know what the fuck Kaiser was looking for here. I don't like that Mad Lions are not exploring the option of using this space. The fact that everyone is funneling through here makes this game so easy to play for Syndra. No one is covering this space. This is a massive blind spot for Rogue. Instead, they are standing in the front here. And Kaiser needs to, they need to start using Ashe arrows, Leona ults, but it's so hard against a team with 2 cleanses. And then here, the fight is already honestly lost because of Kaiser's HP. Kaiser's HP is very, very bad, and Shadow doesn't seem to be aware because he dashes in. He dashes in, and Kaiser's movement is really I don't want to be here, and Shadow is, oh, let's fucking steal this dragon. And the reaction is very quick. Shadow gets ulted on, gets snapped, gets taunted, is low HP, there's no follow-up. Humanoid on Zoe is not ideal for these type of fights. And Karzi didn't do a single auto. Oh, actually did one auto, sorry, one auto. Two maybe. To be fair, Mad Lions is just so fucking outscaled. So outscaled. Outscaled and outplayed. Once again, Kaiser HP boom, Shadow in the pit, ult into taunt. Yeah, the Senna ult missed, you're right. He missed Shadow. Shadow should have died. Red team also gets the Drake. Roma is there alone. Yeah. I think mid-jungle duo will always be the best. Best team in the world will always be the one that has the best mid 2v2. It will be true once again in the shape of top esports with Karsa and Knight. Mid 2v2 reigns supreme in any meta. IG didn't make it to World, which means the solo lane superiority isn't the game-winning condition. No. IG don't have a jungler. Even when IG won Worlds. When IG won Worlds, Ning was fucking insane. It's very easy to think about this. Imagine Knight and Kanavi. It's hard to imagine that because they are so different as players. I think top esports, I think Knight and Karsa are better 2v2 than Kanavi and Yagao. But they are playing very, very differently. Very, very differently. Thing is, Yagao is playing for Kanavi and Karsa is playing for Knight. Ning was garbage whole tournament in my opinion. Okay, bro. Okay. I think he played good against Katie. He played good against Katie. I think he was the best Camille in the tournament. And he was tanking a lot of Camille bans. And this is Camille Zinza meta. But in this tournament, at this World Championship, probably Score was the best jungler in the world. Probably Score was the best jungler in the world. But I agree. Group stage, Ning was coin flip. I agree. This was 2018 GN Paradox. But I agree with you, Various, that Broxa wasn't even top 3 jungle. Yeah. I completely missed the fight that happened when Larson lost his cleanse, and I don't even know he died. But we were just going to talk about the upcoming fight. Two black cleavers, no 3-core on Ashe. It's painful because Zoe needs a void staff before she does any significant damage. They also need executioners because right now Hansama is just getting too much value. Yeah, Tian was really good. I think 2019, I think Klid was giga overrated. Giga overrated. Giga overrated. I think T1 just had like individual players. The reason everyone rated Tarzan so high is because there were games in the LCK where he did things no one else as a jungler did. What jungler impressed you the most in your coaching career worldwide? Well, the first people that come to mind is Peak Dandy, Peak Insect, Peak Diamond Prox, Peanut, Rox Peanut. As surprising as this might sound, Xerxes. Unicorns of Love Xerxes was something else. Was really, really something else. Because he was doing things I hadn't seen before. When people showed me something that I hadn't seen before and I am actively learning, that always stuck with me. Not Kikis. I wouldn't put Kikis in that. Like what worries me about Europe coming into the World Championship is yeah. Like Tarzan, the reason he was valued or rated so highly is, like, even by me, I put him very high on my top 20 list. He was doing things no one else was doing. He was playing some games at such a high level of efficiency that it was hard to question his decisions at all. This year, I have that feeling from Kanavi, but not at the same level, and Canyon. Watching Canyon is mind-boggling. Yeah. Tarzan even now, I can tell you, I don't know if I can tell you, but Tarzan is going to play competitively next year, and Tarzan is still really, really fucking good. I was watching him playing in solo queue, his stream. Tarzan stream and Korea stream were the two streams I watched the most while I was in Korea, and I'll continue to do so here. It was just easier in Korea because time zone wise, it was just perfect. But okay, let's finish this game. Everything's on the line here. Both supers didn't finish the item. That's tricky. Inspired is so fed. So fed. But he has no armor. So like he's killable. Like if it bleeds, you can kill it. As you can see here, it died. Kazi's tanked the turret. Orome doing this drive-by is kind of weird. But even in this case, this was a good situation for Mad. Because here Inspired is just not aware of his strength. Like he feels strong, but he's not strong. Hecarim can be deceptive in this way. I think maybe he shouldn't finish Cinderhulk and buy armor. I think armor is pretty clutch here. The double black cleavers, they are stacking fast and he gets popped here. And then Kazi is tanking the tower here, which is kind of weird. He shouldn't be the one tanking the tower. What happened? Why is he... Oh, he autos first. Is he tanking the tower? What happens to him? Oh, he tanks the tower after because Shadow resets and he's closest. Okay. Right now, I would disagree with Vedu's assessment. Even though I have high hopes for what kind of improvements G2 and Fnatic can do leading into the tournament, right now with the level of play, I am not so excited by G2 and Fnatic. No, I felt a lot better around now about G2 and Fnatic last year around this time. A lot better. Last year around this time we had a best of 5 that went to 5 games that was brutal and had a pace that was unmatched. And then we had another best of 5 that slapped just as much. I think the series between Fnatic and G2, I think it's rightfully making people worried. But I know how quick players on Fnatic and G2, how quick they can get good. For example, now people are worried about Perks' level. They're worried about Perks' level. But Perks is the type of player that can get his shit together and play on a world-class level within the span of 2 weeks. Okay, so this is a mistake from Inspired. No Shen ultimate, miscoordination. They are fighting around the wrong timer. There's no reason to force here. They can always play patiently and play more about time. I'm worried about Jankos, but rightfully so. He showed glimpses of this weakness already last year, right? Where he couldn't play the Kiana well, right? Now there's no Evelyn, there's no Hecarim in his repertoire. Champions that can be picked up. I'm sure Jankos can do it, but it is weird for Jankos to be the one to be behind. I have full faith in Perks. Perks is a world-class player. He is a world-class player. Even though his level, I'm sure he knows he's not at his peak form. He's the type of player that can get back up, right? He can get back up. I think if Jankos coming into the finals against Fnatic figures out how to play Evelyn and Hecarim, I think G2 is going to win. G2 is going to win. And that's something Jankos can do. How well does Wonder match up to the world's best top laners? Well, he matches up well. The only time I felt like Wonder couldn't stand on his own was against Deshai in 2018. But no one could. Deshai destroyed everyone in his way. That was the biggest player gap I've ever seen in any position. The biggest player gap I've seen in any position. So when you rank players, right? You rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, now we look at mid lane, right? We look mid lane globally. If someone told me, oh, Chovy is the best mid lane in the world, I would be like, yeah, probably Knight. But the difference is very slim. Showmaker, Chovy, BDD, Knight, Yagao. There's so many fantastic mid laners that are in this pool of high tier, right? When Deshai was, the best, it was Deshai, and then really far down. Really far down. Who came next? Khan, Wunder, right? Khan, Wunder. It was such a big gap. Oof. Keen, yeah, sure. In 2018, but yeah. Zoom was, guys, these players were not relevant in 2018. We're talking about 2018. 2018. Yeah, Faker mid, and then everyone else. Big fucking gap. Someone mentioned Marin, but Marin 2015 was competing with Smeb, was competing with Huni. There were a lot of fantastic fucking top laners at the time. Balls. Darius Pentakill balls. EDG Mickey Mouse. 2014 Mata, that's also a good example. Good example. Okay, let's take a look at this. You know, Mad Lions are showing some class here, some class. They're playing a trickier composition, but they are hanging on in this game. Oh, this is a bit too desperate. Shen ult, I think, inspired. Maybe his itemization is wrong because he's so fucking squishy even through the Shen ultimate. Maybe finishing the Cinderhulk was just a mistake. He needed to buy some armor because he has no fucking armor. And there is trade 1-for-1. Nautilus Leona is out, but Mad Lions have the better positioning onto the bot side. But Hansama can heal here. If Cinder sticks around and eats some fucking honey fruit that I see here, eats some honey fruit, eats some Hansama heals, then this fight is something that they are capable of winning. But Larsen is cowering in the corner here. But nevertheless, having the position is tricky to face check into it. It's very tricky to face check into it. Because you only have this one pink and you're going to face check into Renekton, so it's probably a loss. We don't mind it. They make a call to not go for it, go for mid tower. Completely fine. Because if they face check and lose, they probably lose the game too. So why not? Time is Rogue's friend here. We don't mind. This is a bit desperate. Shadow, not sure what he's doing. What on earth was Shadow doing here? Not sure what he's looking for here. This Mad Lions play was very strange. Very, very strange. Like, they had some potential in this game, but this kind of threw all the potential out of the way because Rogue are in a position to potentially threaten Nash. They could also just fix bottom wave because that bottom wave is quite ugly. But Shadow's play was also quite ugly here. The reason why I think they could potentially start Nash is because they can kind of tank it forever. Shen and Hecarim together can tank it forever. Not sure what... I'm assuming he's going for Death Stance here, inspired. But he's going for the magic resistance components first, which I think is a mistake. I think he just naturally bought it because it's more expensive. But he just needs armor here. He needs armor to make the shield of Shen more effective. Yeah, like Jankos on the set is not terrible, right? But they just haven't shown it. Having that option is strong. Like, having that option to play both ways in a draft is very, very useful. Like, for example, the biggest criticism of Fnatic is they don't play 2v2 mid, and that could be considered a massive weakness, right? The 2v2 mid didn't really exist against G2, and G2 were focusing completely on the 2v2 mid. And set is perfect for that, right? But being able to adapt within the draft going both ways is a strength, right? That's a strength. And I think it is good to be able to play both ways. Like, Canyon can play both ways, right? That's what makes Canyon so good. Karsa can play both ways. That's why I rate Canyon and Karsa so highly. Because they've shown that diversity. Whether it's a team choice or a player choice, I don't know, because we can't speculate on that. We can't speculate on that at all. Do you think flex champs are healthy for the game? They have to exist, because you can't. There's no way to prevent it. So the question of is it healthy or not? It's a question that's pointless because you can't prevent it. Are you making a top 20 for this year's Worlds? Probably, yeah. Yeah. Like, guys, I don't think Jankos can't play these champions, but it's a question of, in the context of your team, can you play it together with your team? It's not hard to play Hecarim. I could play Hecarim. Alright? Hecarim is not difficult to play. Hecarim is not Lee Sin. Hecarim is not Nidalee. Alright? Why do you think Jankos doesn't play them? Who says that? Who said that he doesn't play them? Okay, let's take a step back. In the context of your team, I don't know. I can't speculate that. I can't read their mind. Let's just wrap this up. Like, we are talking about this game. This game is fucking done, guys. It's fucking done. I can't read his mind. I'm sure Jankos can play Evelyn and Hecarim. Jankos is still a fucking good jungler. The RX qualified already for Worlds because of points. Boom. Not sure why Finn is in this position. I'm not sure also why Larsen is showing himself here. He is just showing his body here. Like, why is he visible? What the fuck is happening? Why is he visible? He's in the bush, no? He's in the bush. What Ash E? Where's the Ash E? What the fuck? What? Why? Why is he visible? It's not a visual bug, Shadow is straight up fucking Wing in the bush. It was a neat idea. It was a neat idea. I like the idea. But Inspired has no armor. He's getting fucking one-shotted. Ooh, Larsen. Larsen's got the juice. Drake is spawning. Shadow's alive. So at least he can play time here. I wonder if Larsen... do they have time? Do they have time? I don't know why Humanoid is walking here. I don't think people should put Shadow in the grave over having a bad series. Guys, this guy's career is so young. All of their careers are so young. They're gonna go to the World Championship and make us all proud. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I think Mad Lion's bot lane is fantastic. I think Shadow is great. And I think these three parts have a lot of potential. I'm not so sold on Humanoid and Orome. There we go. Look at that, man. Look at that. Shadow keeping them in the game. Sandbox are in the worlds. We are not in the worlds. Do you prefer Ashe or Senna? I prefer Ashe. Shadow Leeson is discussing it's a different champion when he plays it. The thing is, it isn't. And when you have players that emotionally lock in champions, that's going to be a weakness against teams that are equally good as you. According to Veteran, Humanoid is actually managing Shadow so much, he usually loses lane and gets behind because he focuses on that. Well, he was pretty shit managing in this series. Okay, so wait, I was talking, I didn't see what happened to Shadow. Oh, Shadow died, yeah, doing the Drake. Well, they had to do that, right? So they get Nash, and then this Nasher will line them up nicely for the next Drake. I don't know what it is, but I don't trust Veteran at all. No offense, but this is just my intuition. I've seen him give out information that I know is false, but I don't want to get into it too much. Let's just leave it at that. He really likes to speak poorly of me because he is a drama fiend. That's my impression, you know? Like there was this one time where I mentioned that I was arguing for. So basically, I was talking about Origin and how they chose to pick up Destiny, and I said in a support pool that was dwindling, they chose to look outwards, right? And he's like, these are the type of statements that make people not believe in rookies. He's doing so much to work against rookies. So this was Veteran. Imagine saying that to me. Imagine saying that to me. Out of all people, he says that to me. I am the coach that worked with the most rookies. What? I don't believe in rookies. I don't believe in rookies. I don't believe in rookies. Splice. Full rookie team. I made one roster change. I brought in one more rookie. Mickey X. Just because I made the comment of, I was trying to explain why Origin would look outwards. Because support was a very uninteresting role in the LEC. Was a very uninteresting role in the LEC. When I was making the roster for Vitality for the next year, in that same year when I made that comment, I wanted to have Kaiser in my team. My number one choice was Kaiser. Sure, you might say, oh, in hindsight it's easy to say this, but I literally wanted Kaiser. I wanted Kaiser, Labrov. Kaiser was called Gistic at this time. I wanted Gistic and Labrov, and then there's a third, I can't fucking remember the name. This was my short list. Labrov had school, and my idea was to have Jack Troll as a substitute. But nevertheless, I was well aware of the support talent that was happening, that was moving in. Very well aware. But, drama fiend. How can you be so calm after these statements? Because you realize that there is a lot of snakes in the grass. And the only thing you can do is to keep ammunition. Keep ammunition. Keep ammunition. And the day comes when they point a gun to your head and you have all that ammunition with you. There's no reason to fire. Never a reason to fire. Here comes Shadow. Okay, how did we get here? So they start debating Nash. Sorry, I'm completely distracted from this game. The people on YouTube are gonna hate me, man. People on YouTube are gonna absolutely hate this review. Super, super much. Yo, I would get involved in some drama if it was like with Drake. You know, if it was like with Drake, then I would be like, that's fucking worth it, man. Drake wants to beef with me, I'll beef with Drake. You know? I'm gonna be like, yo, I died and it's your son. All you gave him was an Adidas press run. You know, I would get into it. You know, that would be worth it. That would be worth it. Or like beefing with Nicki Minaj or something like this, you know. I would call her Pusha T. Pusha T. Give me that hard piano beat. That would be worth it. But anything else, not fucking worth the fucking worth the anxiety and the stress and the whatever. I'm not Pusha T, but I would love to meet Pusha T. Boom, humanoid. It dead. What's crazy is Hansama full mana, yeah? Blue buff. He's like, guys, stand in a fucking line. Right now, he's like, stand in a line. Brom says, stand behind me. Hansama, Onsana says, stand in a fucking line. Let me heal you up. Let me heal you up with that. 1,000 heal. $1,000 heal. There we go. You guys are low HP? Let me give you that juice. Let me give you that juice. Okay, Finn, why are you standing there? Why is Finn standing there? Finn, what are you doing, son? What are you doing? You're hitting the pink? No, 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 no. We don't want that. Just combo your damage, Syndra, Hecarim Smite, and then boom. You're in the runnings. Very tough game. You give up 3 dragons early with your composition. You need to lose. You need to lose. It's just coming back to this game, circling around and making this game go full circle. Mad Lions bot lane losing Prio is very, very bad. Insta-taunt in case steal attempt. You can still smite when you're taunted. Here comes Kaiser. Kaiser trying to do his best Hilisan cosplay by, getting an angle, but the game is lost. Game is lost. Are you watching EU Masters? What do you think about SMS, the Italian team? I don't know shit about EU Masters right now, man. I only watch it as off-season is approaching. Because then I can choose more carefully how I use my time instead of like hoping the game that I'm watching is the right game to watch. I get a lot of help on this front to be more efficient with my time. It's funny that Rogue didn't get Soul Drake, but the pressure of Soul Drake won them the game. Which is super cool. Alright, let's end that recording right there.